history here. I'd like to get this hearing in today. You know, everybody needs to just focus on the relevant facts, okay? I know there's a history here.
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart? Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you? All right. Who's responsible here?
What's that?
Who's responsible here? Whose house is this?
Yeah, haven't been drinking or anything, right?
No.
Okay. Drive careful, okay?
Thank you.
This is what the other group had that ran away.
Oh, really? You just ditched it? Awesome.
Yeah, those ones kept walking to the car.
It's truly for the win.
That I was given to. So there was 2 different discs. Okay? They all knew about it.
We're not here to talk about the alcohol stuff, okay?
Okay, yeah.
But this is the second noise complaint we've had here tonight within 2 hours.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know why we're here?
I see noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Like brains, and like if you need a lot of brains, you're gonna be in trouble.
This November 29th, 4 people that were murdered, and you want to fuck around. You got 8 families that are being affected by this, and they just need nobody from the university.
Shock value. And so what he did was he had taken pictures of California.
Oh, you're from. I would be outraged if I lived in Moscow right now. I'd be lighting some cars on fire out there. I'd be flipping some cars. I'd get the frats going wild with me. Let's get some noise complaints going. All right, guys, welcome to the transparency. This is a breakdown of the statement of Brett Payne, Exhibit A, the probable cause affidavit. The first page is pretty much Payne talking about his background, as well as what time he arrived on scene, which was 4 p.m. on November 13th, and that he arrived there with Sergeant Baker. After that, Payne and Officer Smith enter the King residence, and they start at the bottom floor, and they spend no time on the bottom floor. They actually just go straight up, entering the front door, go straight up the stairs, and then they are on the second floor. Payne says that he then immediately makes a right to head down a narrow hallway where there was a bathroom door on the left, and you dead end into a bedroom that he later came to find out was Xana's. The first thing I noticed that I would have a question about is when Payne goes down that hallway and he notices that bathroom door, I want to know if that bathroom door is open or closed. Also, when he walks into Xana's bedroom, he says, when I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Xana, laying on the floor. He does not give the position of the body, so I'm curious about that. On page 2, it goes on to talk about the second body that was found in that bedroom, which was victim Ethan Chapin. That has been redacted. Throughout the whole 19 pages, the term isolated targeted incident never comes up. I do believe that those words could be found in page 2, but that has been redacted because there is nowhere in the probable cause of this isolated targeted crime being committed by Bryan Kohberger. What is considered page 2 of the affidavit is page 3 when you print it out, but page 2 by the number. Officer Payne says that he then follows Officer Smith to go upstairs to the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor is where he says that there's 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee's. I later learned from Officer Noonan's body camera that there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. Again, that's where I'm asking another question, which is, was that bedroom door closed? They talk about the dog belonging to both Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend. Officer Payne says that he has an interview with Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, Jack, on November 13th. Officer Smith then pointed out the small bathroom on the east side of the 3rd floor, and that was a bathroom that was shared by Maddie and Kaylee. As Officer Payne entered the next bedroom, he could see, again, doesn't say if the door is open or closed, or if it was open or closed, based on Officer Smith's briefing, that he could see when he walked in a single bed, there was 2 females. Kaylee and Maddie were both deceased. Visible stab wounds. He then uses a key word for me, which is, I also later noticed. So meaning that, what, was that not on his initial, time at the bodies? But he says, I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. So how I perceive that is when you look at the bed from the door, it's going to be the officer's right side, like his right hand is what he's considering her right side. Again, keywords there is, I also later noticed. When was later? How was that not noticed right away if it was that out of place? Also on page 2, what I noticed is the K-bar USMC. So there's no date that Payne says. He just says the sheath was later processed. Well, when was that processed and when did you get that back? Again, there's no date on when that happened and when you received that left male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. When was that turned over for testing? And then when did you get that back? What are the dates there? There's no dates. Closing out page 2 of the affidavit, Payne says as part of his investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. BF's room was located on the east side of the 1st floor of the King Road residence. This would be consistent with what initially came out from Chief Fry, saying that Bethany was downstairs sleeping on the 1st floor in her bedroom. However, when you turn to page 3, which you would think would be the next paragraph, speaking about DM's whereabouts, it does not do that, and instead it says, based on numerous interviews conducted by Moscow Police Department, as well as ISP and FBI agents, as well as my review of evidence, I have learned the following. So again, no mention yet of DM's bedroom location. Before moving on to page 3, the last thing I want to say about that last paragraph on page 2 is, did you, as officers, conduct phone traces with both Dylan and Bethany to corroborate any and all statements? Were their phones Cellbrite dumped? And if so, what date? Again, for the most part on page 3, the beginning and the middle has to do with the narrative of what happened that night and where people were. I'm going to go ahead and start at the bottom of page 3. It is the 3rd paragraph, where it says DM and F and BF both made statements during interviews, so that was plural, so there was multiple interviews, that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. That means all residents were at the house by 2 a.m. and either asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This would be the first time that we hear about Xana receiving a DoorDash. I had mentioned this back a couple weeks ago, that it is possible that somebody would have ordered food. That's what, we used to do when we were in college. We would order food, or we would pick it up on our way, have it delivered, things like that. So Xana received, keyword there is received, a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Now, are they going based off of received? Where was the DoorDash found? DoorDash is awesome. It's all time-stamped on when you make your order in. It's going to have that timestamp, and then they take a picture, they send it to you, they let you know it's at your door. DoorDash usually leaves it at your door versus knocking and waiting. I think that is very important with this case. Again, they use the word received. So this is with the exception of Xana, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. Going on to page 4, DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the 2nd floor. Now, this is interesting language to me. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the 2nd floor. That would tell me that she made a statement after that. This was her original statement. She said that she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the 2nd floor. Now, maybe the language should have been different and she went to bed, but what this is telling me, DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom. Well, what did she, if that's what she originally did, what did she say at a different point in time that she did, if this was the original version? Also, at this point, I want to state that Truth and Transparency brought it to you guys first, said 100 that Dylan was occupying a bedroom 3 on the 2nd floor and provided ample proof of that with timestamps, dates, and things like that. Moving on. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m., by which she stated sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the 3rd floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Xana's phone showed this could also have been Xana, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Now, I have so many things to say about this first paragraph of page 4. That's not only just the original quote-unquote language, but at 4 a.m., Dylan says that she is awoken at approximately 4 a.m. Well, there are text messages, or I shouldn't say text messages, there is social media where Dylan is placing on a social media platform pictures of her roommates at the timestamp of 3:33. So that tells me that Dylan would have had to have fallen asleep between, just a little bit after 3:33 a.m., okay, and 4. But just like how you would have taken Xana's phone to dump it and to get the information, you would have then also taken, Dylan's phone and did a cell break dump and got all that information. So is her phone, Dylan's phone, indicative of being left alone and her being able to be, quote unquote, sleeping and to be woken up then at 4? Next, she said that, Payne says that he has to make a note that says when, DM states that when she is approximately waking up at 4, and it sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedroom, which were located on the 3rd floor. I think that that's interesting that he has to say which were located on the 3rd floor, because originally, like I said, if she's saying at one point in time that she was sleeping downstairs on the 1st level, then that's why they would have to say, when she's talking about upstairs, they have to specify that they mean the bedrooms on the 3rd floor, because she was trying to say at one point that she was sleeping on the 1st floor. Again, the language in this PCA is why I am saying what I'm saying, and why I think the defense will be saying the same thing. Continuing on, a short time later, again, no timestamp, DM said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." So she hears what she thought was Kaylee and the dog playing. And again, she's going to be asked numerous questions on that. Would Kaylee normally play with her dog at 4 a.m.? When she hears Kaylee, what she thinks is someone saying, "There's someone here." When the DoorDash guy came, did he ring the doorbell? Do they just take pictures? Did you hear the DoorDash guy? Did you hear somebody go downstairs and get the DoorDash and come upstairs with it? Things like that. A review of the records obtained from a forensic download of Xana's phone showed this could have also been Xana, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Also, she had just gotten food delivered and received at 4, so she's awake. Was she eating in the living room? Does she normally eat in her bedroom? Where was this bag of food then found the next day? Moving on to paragraph 2 of page 4. DM states she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time. So that tells me that she had her door closed the first time when she would have opened it. When she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. So the first time she opens it, and that's when she thought that she heard somebody commenting about being in the house. Then the second time, DM states she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, it's okay, I'm going to help you." Now, what I believe is going to be said in court is that the reason that DM did not go and inquire about this is because she thought the male voice was Ethan and that he was comforting his girlfriend, and that that's something that would happen because they would argue and things like that, just like any normal couple in college when you're drinking and you're arguing. And so that is what I believe she is going to be saying as to why she didn't go and inquire more about the following that she just said. Approximately at 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 112 King Road, a residence immediately to the north of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Xana's bedroom. Now, in the PCA, they put this paragraph after, in between the next paragraph, which is going to be about DM stating that she opened her door for the third time. So when I first read this, I said, well, why isn't the DM stating that she opened her door for the third time? Why isn't that above at approximately 4:17 a.m.? It's because this is the state's version, okay? Now, the next paragraph is the final paragraph of page 4. Dylan, DM, stated that she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking toward her. Now, this is where it does not make sense, because just before that, DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying. Now she's saying that she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying. So they're using a little, bit of difference there with the language. They're saying what she thought was crying. And now she is saying the third time that she opened it, she heard. It was after she actually heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth, nose, and this figure was walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built, with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a quote-unquote frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room right after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Now, based on that final paragraph there, I have, again, lots to say, as I believe that paragraph basically is telling us the order of whether it was the third floor first, whether it was the second floor first. And based on this and the whole thud at 4:17, and then wanting it to be known that that thud was just 50 feet from Xana's room, meaning like her outside of her wall, it is, in my opinion, that they are basically telling us that it was the third floor first and the second floor was then last. And then because if you're in Dylan's room and you open up the door, now Dylan would have to be on the stand to testify. When you opened up the door, did you just peek out? Did you open up the door all the way? Did you step out of the room? Because based on where her room is and that door is, and that she would actually see somebody walking towards her, to be walking towards her and then past her, that's going to be interesting to demonstrate and to actually see and show you guys what that looks like. And I plan on doing that here. So moving on with that, just to clean up page 4 here, if I was the defense, I would be asking what kind of camera, brand, make, model of the 1122 King Road, the people next to them, what kind of camera was that picked up this distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. Also, a dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. Well, I can't believe I'm ever going to say this, but if that is a clear bark and you have like a couple of them back to back to back to back to back, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but dogs have special barks. Like, so would Murphy in this situation have to bark to see if it would match the barking of the inside dog where where Murphy was? Or was it one of the dogs that, live around there that's outside and happens to see a figure and barks because they see a figure? Also, what the defense should be looking at is in questioning, where was this man in clad black? Where was he coming from? I get that she's saying, and it's in the probable cause, that quote unquote, she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Well, from what way? Where was this person walking from? Okay. And then there at the end, the male walked towards the back sliding glass door. And then kind of what is missing from the remaining page that I think should be in page 4. And it could be just because they're just leaving it out. They don't have to put everything in there. But Dylan never once says in any of this that she heard any screaming. She doesn't say that she heard a dog barking at all. She doesn't say that she hears anybody going up or down the steps. And she doesn't say like in what kind of direction. She never saw anybody into that last door opening, and that was somebody walking towards her, and the direction just isn't there, which will come out. Also, we know that Moscow Police Department has body cams, and I do believe that every single one of these interviews was audio and video recorded. So all of these interviews and the notes and everything, that's part of the discovery, and that will go to the defense. And so out of these numerous interviews, it's going to be interesting to see if and when any of the statements change. Page 5 of the affidavit starts with Payne saying that the combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phone, and video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. Now, those of you guys that have been following along on this case, we have been told since day one that the homicides occurred between 3 and 4 a.m. So this is the first time that we are seeing a time switch, which is between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. And right here, they're answering one of my questions that was earlier, which is, did they download the records and the phone records from BF and DM. And the answer here in the probable cause is yes, and that will be available to the defense for discovery. Now, if you're defending Bryan, like I said, Anne has one hell of an uphill battle. But as good as I thought the probable cause affidavit was when I first read it the first time, I don't feel as strongly as I did about it when I first read it to when I actually took a day to, which was yesterday, 12 hours plus to destroy it, go through it, and do what I'm doing here today. The next paragraph says, during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team. So not the first, but the second. And I make a pretty big note about that as, how did you not catch this the first time? And because this probable cause that Payne has written up really, really, really is lacking in dates, so it would be nice here, and they're going to have that in, discovery, which is during the processing of the crime scene, date, timestamp, everything that you're taking, your samples, what time they were, done, all of that's going to be on there. So that second processing of the crime scene, that's also going to be dated, timestamped, because it could be something that, hey, we just came back the next day because guess what? We have to go to sleep at some point. But moving on. Again, during that process, though, they found this shoe print, and it was just outside the door of DM's bedroom. Okay, so they used their, all their special stuff, and it detected a shoe print, showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of Vans. Vans is a type of shoe. And again, it was just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on second floor. And see, they have to put that in parentheses, again, right after talking about DM's bedroom, located on second floor, because of what? All of this stuff surrounding DM, talking about, and the police putting it out that DM was on the first floor because she went to bed. And they went downstairs to their first floor bedrooms. So even here in the probable cause, page 5, after again talking about DM's bedroom, they have to put in parentheses here, located on second floor. Interesting, huh? So this tells me very, very strongly, guys, that there are multiple statements from DM, one being that she slept downstairs and one being that she slept upstairs. So it's going to be interesting. Again, this is my opinion, and it's going to be interesting to see this unfold as far as her statements go, because she's going to be a strong witness for the state. At the end of that paragraph, Payne says that this is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. Path of travel. Well, I hate to burst everybody's bubble, but DM owns Vans too. Notice how they didn't talk about what size the shoe print was or anything like that? Yeah, there's a reason. Also, I disagree with Payne here when he says that this is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. They never talk about the path of travel, okay? She says that he walks towards her. Well, she never says where she's at when he does this, okay? That's never stated in this probable cause. Also, where he's coming from, where she's at, everything like that. So the term of path of travel is 100% not verified in this probable cause. There is no path of travel that's been talked about. A departure, possibly. And again, the reason this is important is because which way is the sole of the shoe pointing? You know, whatever you have there as your one shoe print, which way is it, Is the top of the shoe, the bottom of the shoe, the sole of the shoe, the heel of the shoe, all that stuff. Where is it? What direction? And again, that is not said here in the probable cause. Now we get to, this is actually what I feel like my strength is, part of the investigation, which is dealing with digital evidence. So on page 5, as part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as video canvases, they were conducted in the area of the King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th in the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspects or suspect vehicles traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed, Payne says, I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with other MPD officers, ISP, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. Again, he says, as part of the investigation, an extensive search. He does not say when the date that this began, the date that they obtained each video. It will be, though, dated and time-stamped with, the chain of custody and all of that. And that's going to be so important for Ann Taylor. This part is so important for Ann Taylor in terms of when law enforcement got what dates, what timestamps, who got the stuff. This is going to be crucial for Ann Taylor, in my opinion. All right, so a review of camera footage, this is going to close out page 5. A review of camera footage indicates that a white sedan, it'll be called Suspect Vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Snyder Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared Suspect Vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. I do believe that that gas station was home to one of the stills that we all saw. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of Suspect Vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show Suspect Vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Walenta Drive. Based off of my experience, Payne says, as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Now, here he says, upon review of the video, he does not say plural, so he's only using one video to track the 1122 King Road residence, in my opinion, based on his wording. Again, upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. Again, not sure if he means which road he's talking about, if he means this area, but we're going to find out. This next paragraph on page 6 is very, very important for the defense, in my opinion. This paragraph states on page 6, Suspect Vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time, approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. when suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Again, on this fourth time doing this about, it can be seen driving eastbound, then it's stopping up. You can't go, it's not letting me go past the 500 Queen. It's like right there because it goes up and back around the house. And that's what it means by when it says it's driving back down westbound because it's coming back down the hill. So it's just not letting me go back over there. But all of this, how much time do you think it takes to do this beginning at 4:04 when it's seen on the camera? That it has to go past it, come back down, then it attempts to get, parked, then goes down to where the intersection of King and Queen is, and does that 3-point turn, and then it comes back up eastbound, and then it's not seen again until 4:20. In this probable cause, it's going to not mention that last timestamp of, okay, well, what timestamp do you have when you don't see it anymore? What time is that? Because this plays heavily into how long do you think that this would take to then get out of your vehicle, then make entry into the home, locate all 4 victims, brutally murder them with a knife, and then leave. Get in your car, and then rush out of there where it says that the suspect vehicle is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 at a high rate of speed. The next time it is seen on a camera is when it's heading and it's traveling southbound on Willenta Drive. And then Officer Payne says, based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood, that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame of any other cameras. I believe that the suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Constaga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns, and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Except that would not be the fastest route to go. The next paragraph, which begins page 7, talks about the forensics and the FBI utilizing their tools and experience to take a still picture and pick the make and model. And then it goes on to talk about where the next sighting of this between 2013 to 2015 white Elantra is. So moving to the middle of the page on page 7, again, there are no dates. This is big. So Officer Payne, he says, law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Again, doesn't say a date. We really need a date on that. We're going to get a date on that. That's important on when this all happened. The next paragraph. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect 1 vehicle, the forensic examiner initially believed the suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. Again, doesn't say the dates here after reviewing the numerous observations. Well, what date was this done? And then when did he change that it could actually be from 2011 to 2016? Was that to fit so that, this 2011, 2013 that everybody was supposed to be looking for? Well, Kohberger's is obviously 2015. So what are the dates on these changes? Why did they change? Things like that. That's going to be huge for the defense. The dates, there's no dates in this probable cause on when people were doing what. investigators that at the last paragraph of page 7, investigators were given access, again, when? Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus, located in Pullman. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle number 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards State Route 270. State Route 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This camera footage from Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. Again, there is no date. Nothing has dates. When was this WSU campus footage given to you? Apartment, by the way, where he lives to connect to 270 is a 5-minute drive. What they're using for cameras is 9 minutes apart. So that's going to help the defense. And again, these no dates. What dates is everybody doing this? The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington, as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. The next paragraph, which begins page 8, again, this is all about the digitals. This is the circumstantial evidence that they built a case around Bryan Kohberger. Again, the reason this is really important about the dates is because based on the surveillance that they had at the time of the homicides, which was collecting from the 1122 King residence, that basically gets the car leaving, and then based on them not being able to see this car on any of the surveillance cameras going on Taylor, that's why they were asking, hey, we're still looking for surveillance, everything, like I think it was like south of Taylor. They wanted to get anybody and everybody's surveillance from Taylor, and it was to pinpoint this Elantra, to say, okay, then it couldn't have come this way. Okay, so it has to go, the Walenta way. But it is not seen on any of the cameras, or at least it's not mentioned in this probable cause affidavit. So on page 6, the last paragraph on page 6, when they say the suspect vehicle is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20, that's your 1112 camera. They're saying that it's going fast. It is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. And they do not give an address, okay? But Walenta, when you're getting up that way, you can break off at different points. So, but that's the last known, and it's right there in Idaho, right by the campus. So how do we make this jump, guys? That we have 90 white Elantras, 90, that are registered to Idaho students, and they are tagged for permits, 90 of them, all right? What makes the Moscow Police Department, the FBI, this is November 13th the murders happen, okay? You have to gather all this data to then go through all, these hours worth of surveillance of different, businesses and stuff like that. And this time stamping and everything. That is very tedious, all right? But it stops there at Walenta. How do we make that jump to take us out, 15, 20 minutes to look at the WSU, campus security, as well as the surveillance over there. And when you actually do get that, you're looking and you're like, okay, well, this white Elantra, it's showing up on a camera at 5:25 a.m. And that's where page 8 begins of the probable cause, is the first paragraph there. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300. They put Johnson Road. It's Johnson Avenue. And that is actually the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness. Okay? And that's at 5:25. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound then on Johnson Avenue. Johnson Avenue leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Constaga Drive. But the issue is that if you're leaving at 4:20, when it says it's leaving, it is only a 12 to 13 minute drive, possibly 15 at the max, to get to where this camera should have picked up at, the latest 4:35. It's not picking him up until 5:25. So when you would have initially saw that, okay, yeah, guys, we got to pinpoint this Elantra down. Like, where's this time, this gap of time? We're missing, this can't be the right vehicle. And that is going to be huge for the defense, because how do we know that that's the vehicle? How are you just going to place it that it went somewhere else, right? Well, how they're doing that is they're doing that by saying that Bryan's cell phone, they have his cell phone number, and they used cloud-based data to GPS his whereabouts during that time of the crime. Well, where my question lies is, how did you go and obtain that? How did you get to that point that you were able to get that information? How did you get to that point? Because right here, when WVU would have handed you, or not WVU, but Washington State University would have handed you, here's the surveillance of our campus, or, and here are these 5. This is the back road to go. This is not the more popular way to go. This would have taken you a lot of time. A lot of time. A ton of time. And what's going to be there for the defense is you have all of these Hyundai Elantras that, when are you supposedly looking for it? What's the date? Okay, the murders are on November 13th. Okay, and when is the date that you have forensic people, FBI people saying this is what we're looking for? That's why that date's so important. And then what did you do as a police department to pull the different white Elantras that were close to the victims? People have that car. People that go to the actual Idaho, college, people that actually live in Idaho. That should be in the discovery out of things that you would have been doing. You just don't walk into Bryan Kohberger.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the transparency. They always want to shut me down. We are outside here at the Morgan Wallen concert. Things are about to get crazy, but I think I do have a very good interview lined up. Again, this was a very important pre-recorded video that I did in January of 2023, right after the PCA was made available. I made this pre-record. It's been out there. I went ahead and put it out here today again because this is a narrative. This is a PCA with a narrative. And the last time that I saw this done with ISP was in the Daniel Moore, Brian Drake murder in 2020 out of Bonners Ferry, Idaho, where ISP took over the case. And I'm going to prove to you guys how ISP, Gary Tolson, knew that a 911 call did not exist. And he put a 911 call that he knew did not exist in a PCA and had an elaborate explanation for why this never made 911 call was made after another witness, an eyewitness. The things that are going to come out of Truth and Transparency here in the next 10 days are going to blow your mind when it comes to the Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho 4 case. Please run this back. It's an hour long. This video, you can go to my channel. I put this video out in January of 2023. Everything that I said in 2023 of January, we are here now in August of 2023. Everything that I said then, it is happening in front of our faces. And I'm going to put my own PCA together for you guys to show you where the mistruths, falsifications, whatever you want to call it, flat out lies exist in this PCA. I never thought it was possible until I started covering Daniel Moore and Brian Drake's case. And I'm going to prove to you that ISP was told, saw forensic evidence, digital evidence, saw it all, knew that there was not things in place, and they made it up in a PCA. And that is what I believe happened in this case. And I'm going to show you guys, and I'm going to prove it to you. We'll see you soon.